Hi friends, it's Mike here, and welcome back to Simply Bougie. So who here is a fan of the autumn season? Because I know I am. I love leaves changing colors, the cool brisk air, pumpkins everywhere, and yeah, pumpkin spice lattes because I'm that person. Just everything about it. Halloween, witches and ghosts and goblins and ghouls and everything else that just happens in this time frame. So with that in mind, today I'm going to be making my Halloween mix. It's a simple recipe. You could change it up to your liking, but I only ask just to follow it the way I do once, see how you like it, and then make your alterations from there. And before we get started today, I did want to remind everybody that today's episode is sponsored by my dear friend Dani, who is the owner of the Etsy shop, Crystaline Moss Dragon. If you go to the link that I provide below, she is going to offer a 15% discount on all purchases made when you use code Bougie. So make sure you click that link to go and make all of your fun purchases, and let's get to cooking. All right, guys, so we're going to get started with all the ingredients that you're going to need to make this. So we're going to start off with the base components, which I'm going to need for you to pretend that you see a stick of butter there, because when I filmed this, I got all excited and threw all the ingredients out and realized I left one stick of butter sitting in the fridge. And by the time I realized it, it was too late to refilm this because I tore all the bags open. So anyway, we're going to need one stick of butter, 1 cup of sugar, a half cup of light corn syrup, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. We're also going to need 1 bag of mini pretzels, 1 box of peanut butter filled sandwich cookies, 1 cup of dry roasted peanuts, and then a whole bag each of candy corn and Reese's Pieces. And then I have about 1/4 of a bag of miniature semi-sweet chocolate chips. Now, when it comes to making this, by all means, you can switch up the ingredients. I know a lot of people don't like candy corn, but I will ask the first time you make this, please put it in there, because I have met so many people who don't like candy corn that after they've had this, they love the candy corn in this recipe. So obviously, that's one of those things that it does kind of change the flavor a little bit because it is mixed in with the other stuff. But you could always add regular M&Ms instead of the Reese's Pieces. Instead of the peanuts, you could add dry roasted almonds or cashews, pecans, whatever you choose, or even a mix of different nuts. And then as far as the pretzels and sandwich cookies, you could always use cereal of your choice. Instead of the sandwich cookies, use maybe the crisp rice cereal. Instead of the pretzels, maybe use the rice checks. However you want to do it, it's up to you. That's kind of fair game for this recipe. So we're going to start off setting the oven at 250 degrees and getting that preheated. And then once we get them in the oven, it's going to bake for 45 minutes. But we're going to do that, and then we're going to add all of the ingredients to the saucepan that we need to get started. So that is going to be first off the butter, followed with the light corn syrup. I love how that looks flowing in there. And then the next thing we're going to do after we get that in there is add the sugar. Now, the other ingredients we have sitting on the side aren't going to be added till the end, and we're going to want to make sure that we don't add them in now because that's part of the cooking process. So then we're going to add that sugar in, and then we're going to start giving that a good stir to get it going. And I kind of like to stir it from the start just till it gets to a boil, because you want to make sure that you're letting all of that stuff incorporate and get together real nice and good, because you don't want to have that sugar crystallized and clumped together. So what we're going to do is stir that until it gets to a boil. And then once it gets to a boil, we're going to let it go for about 5 minutes total. And then in the meantime, I'm adding all of the ingredients that I need to the bowl, which are the mini sandwich cookies, the pretzels, and the dry roasted peanuts. And yes, I like to clean along the way, so bear with me if you see me doing that. So getting all those in together,
And then we're going to go back to the stove once the 5 minutes hits, and you're going to see it's a nice foamy. Look how good that looks. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to kind of turn it into a little bit of a caramel / peanut brittle effect. So get that a good stir, and then you're going to want to go in and add the vanilla and then the salt and baking soda, and that's going to help it foam up for you once you do that. And yes, take it off the heat when you do this step, so that way you don't burn anything in the process, because once it reaches that 5 minutes of boil, you're done. So we're going to add those, and then I'll give it a little stir and show you what it looks like on the inside. And there we go. See how it gets that brownish color from the vanilla, and then it starts to foam up even more once that baking soda hits. So we're going to give that a good stir and incorporate it, and then we're going to go over to the bowl and add it in. Now, as you can tell, I was not paying that much attention to my camera because I had that pan which looked like it was up 10 feet in the air. And I also forgot to hit record at first, so it looks like there's not much coming out, but that's because I poured out 90% of it prior to hitting play. So that's what it looks like inside. And then you're going to give that a good stir and get all that incorporated together. And then once you get that taken care of, you're going to get it put on a pan in a flat layer, and you're going to want to spray the pan obviously first because you don't want this stuff sticking to the bottom of it. It does get really sticky, but obviously hot water will get it to come off if you do have any residual that does stick. And I am clumsy, so you will probably see bits of candies and pretzels and all that good stuff flying off on the ground and the in between. So once we get all that in the pan, we're going to put it into a flat layer, because I can talk today. So we're going to get that all smushed down, and then again in the oven at 250 degrees for 45 minutes. And when it's in the oven, you're going to want to stir it probably like every 15 minutes just to kind of get the rest of that caramely goodness all over the extra bits that may not have gotten it. So then I took it out of the oven, gave it another stir around, flattening it back out, and then I'm going to add a good bulk majority of the ingredients. So I'm going to add the candy corn, and then once we get that on, we're going to go on and add the Reese's Pieces. Now, when I did the Reese's Pieces, I was not able to fit the whole bag's worth on there, so you'll notice that I poured some on, and then later on you're going to see me pouring some more. It's because it didn't fit, but that's all right because this is not anything that you need to be super specific on. Again, everything is very flux with this, and yep, I lost a piece of candy. Get it, come on, there you go. So we got all that together. Then I'm going to actually get most of this going into the bowl once that happens. So that way I should say probably about half of it. I want to get that in there so I can start pouring in some of the extra chocolate or some of the chocolate chips, because I'm going to want to give that a good little stir and then add the rest of the mix and then the rest of the chocolate chips on top. Now, I did this when it was just a little bit warm still, because you don't want to burn your hands, obviously, but you want it to be warm enough so that the chocolate chips do melt. But it's going to be cool enough where it won't melt the candy corn or the Reese's Pieces in the process. So there we have it, all nice and mixed together and ready to eat. And yep, there's the rest of the Reese's Pieces. So another good zhuzh and we're ready. Look at that. Delish.
All right, guys, so there we have it. Easy to make, delicious. It's a fun little mix. Like I said, you could change it up however you'd like. Put the ingredients you want that are to your liking. I know a lot of people don't like candy corn. I get that. However, try it with it once, because the thing is I've known so many people who don't like candy corn who love it in here. If you don't like it, you know what? Don't put it in next time, or pick them out as you're eating them. But keep in mind, you don't have to follow all the same candies I used in here. You can switch it up however you like. These are just the ones I like because they add that fun fall color to it. I used regular chocolate. You could do white chocolate if you want to give it that little like yogurt coating look to it. It's up to you. Keep it simple, keep it bougie, and enjoy your day. Bye.